My experience of living on the streets is that you feel totally worthless within yourself. You see it with people around you. They look at you like you're a piece of rubbish, garbage, and that just adds to the yucky feeling you have within yourself. You feel like you're nothing. You don't matter.
Justin Carr spent 30 years living on the street. But after a helping hand from LifeWise Rotorua, he now works as a peer support leader for Housing First.
Being around people that are down and out, it just adds to the way you feel too, down and out with them, piece of garbage in the gutter. And I just drank and drugged to cover it all because I couldn't handle being straight living like that. I wanted to toes myself when I was straight, so I'd continue using substances to make myself numb.
Carr is unhappy at leaked council documents showing its intention to move homeless people out of Rotorua's parks and reserves. But Rotorua Lakes Council spokesperson Rob Petkethely says people will only be moved out if they pose a threat to themselves or others.
Basically, we are taking a lenient approach, impact-based approach with people who are staying there. So if someone is staying there with, I mean, there's a 24-hour toilet there and all that sort of stuff, which is why we've taken that approach. If they've got low impacts, then yep, that's fine. If they've got high impacts, if dogs, litter, other problems, then it might not be fine. We don't have anywhere specifically that we tell them to go, but again, we would be working with those other agencies to make sure that they're connected to the right people to open those options for them.
Moving to where? That would be the question.
LifeWise Rotorua provides the district's Housing First program. In its first year of operation, it's only been able to house 18 residents. Regional Manager Haihaitu Barrett says moving the homeless from public places is not the solution.
Is it safe for whoever those people are? If you were moving them, what is the solution around that? Are you just moving something to somewhere else? For what reason? So my question would be again, if we are looking as, I guess, ambassadors around supporting people within the communities and displaying manaakitanga, whakawhanaunga, te rangatiratanga, if we were doing all of that, we should be involving them in the next plan, having them, invite them in. Where do you want to go? Where do you need to be? How can we help you from this situation? Because right now, if they've been there long term, then that's their norm. So that's a shift, not just physically, but that's a wairua shift as well. So how are we making our people understand that any kind of shift has to be done together? Otherwise, we'll just get resistance, and that's not good for anyone.
Barrett says that discrimination is one of the biggest obstacles to create a better understanding of the homeless issue.
It's the look. So for some people, having an illusion around homelessness is the old man with the wine bottle and all that kind of stuff. The drunk. That's what people's view of a homeless person looks like. Homelessness these days are children sleeping in cars, rough sleeping, parents trying their best to provide. People who are working can be homeless. So when we talk around discrimination, it isn't around an illness or diagnosis of mental health and addictions. It's become a norm in society that just aren't accepting that this is an issue.
Alma Piper has spent 5 years helping the homeless into rental accommodation. He finds the council system has too many hurdles for vulnerable people to cope with.
Well, I know that there's a lot of other services that have popped up. Pop-up isn't the right word, but there's a lot of services that have recently come up that provide, emergency accommodation, transitional housing, assistance with, getting a property. It's almost like banging your head against the wall because you can only go so far and sometimes just set back, okay, well, we can have a meeting with you and we'll see you in a couple of days or something like that. Anything can happen between now and a couple of days, or maybe I'll see you tomorrow, we're booked solid, so a lot of them, it's just like, I don't even want to waste my time going there if I'm just going to be shunted back. But that's their own perception.
Love Soup will feed up to 50 people in a single sitting. Pfeiffer says there isn't enough being done to support those in need.
It affects them mentally and emotionally. They want someplace stable and someplace where they can collect themselves and be able, okay, this is what I need to do. But if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering if you're going to be moved on, it's going to have a huge emotional and mental impact. If you've got security that are moving these people along, Use the security to make sure the people are safe. Find a place that they can park up and have security come by and check on them from time to time to make sure that A, they aren't being a nuisance, and B, that they aren't being harassed. So if you've got that safe environment and security come and check on them time to time, make sure everything's kept apart, that'd be the way to go.
Give me somewhere to go to that's safe, that I can look after my partner if I have one, that I can look after my animals that if I have them, that I can look after myself and be safe. Because that's just kicking the cat, passing the buck, making them go somewhere else. Where they're going. They're making their situation worse. It's not as if they're hard out committing crime or doing all that yucky stuff. What they're doing is just finding the safest place they can to survive. You know, it's a basic human right to have somewhere to live. And it's easy to say, oh, if you sit down and you think about it clearly, you'll be able to figure stuff out. How can you do that when you're worried about where you're going to get a kai from, where you're worried about how you're going to help your partner, how you're going to help your children? How can you sit down and think rationally, logically, when your whole life is like this? People that are in a good environment, that are rich or whatever you want to call it, they can think rationally and clearly, logically. When you're down and out, you're just worried about how you're going to get the next meal, nothing else.
Nathan Mawson, Local Focus.